Welcome to Parenting Great Kids. I'm Dr. Meg Meeker, and today we have a really, really fun episode. We're going to talk about dating, and that's a topic that impacts almost every teen and parent. Teen dating has changed so much over the years, and navigating it can feel like a maze of social pressures and insecurity and a lot of mixed messages. Well, I'm going to be talking to Elle Lamont today. She's a trailblazer in this space, and she's 15 years old. Elle created Ask Elle, an AI-powered app that serves as a personal dating coach for teens. That's amazing. Her mission to help teenagers rebuild their social skills, handle rejection with confidence, and form healthier, more meaningful relationships. Elle's app is going viral for good reason. And today we're unpacking how her insights are changing the way teens and their parents approach modern dating. Elle, welcome to Parenting Great Kids podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is so cool because I get a lot of questions from parents about, should I have boundaries for dating and what do I say? And should I meet the boyfriend? Or, what do I do if I don't like the boyfriend? So this is an issue that parents have been struggling with as far as what to tell their kids. But it's interesting for me to find out that kids are struggling with it too. So teen dating has changed so much. And can you paint a picture of what teen dating looks like today?
Yes, totally. I think that that's one of the reasons it's so hard for teens is that it's so different from when parents were dating for teenage years, that parents can't actually support their teens because it's so different. To give a glimpse in what teen dating is like today, teens are primarily dating on Snapchat. That's what I would call their dating app, which for those of you who don't know is an app that was literally designed for sexting. So that's where that's what's mediating teens.
Oh, it was. Okay. I didn't know that. There you go. Okay. So It was designed for sexting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. And the key feature of this app is the quick add app feature, where basically you can add people that you have mutual friends with. So it's this guy I met once and added on Snapchat. His mutual friend is now in my quick add.
Okay.
And so it creates this false sense of familiarity between, I can just add them and start a conversation. However, these conversations usually start with the phrase W.Y.L.L, where a guy will message a girl and say W.Y.L.L. And you might be wondering what this stands for. Mm-hmm. It stands for what you look like. That's the pickup line of this teen generation. And the girl is then supposed to send photos of herself.
Oh my.
W.Y.L.L, not hi, nice to meet you, W.Y.L.L. And then the girl's supposed to send photos. And then depending on if the guy finds her attractive, it's 100% based on that. A guy will unadd, block, or continue talking with the girl.
Oh, and that's terrible. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I know. It's when I say this to parents, they're like, what? I had no idea this was going on. Because I think that the facade that parents are seeing is, my teen had a date to prom. But what they don't understand is that prom is like a photo op now, where there's a huge chance that your son hasn't met his date before the photo that is being taken. And so parents are really left in the dark about this because it's all done online and in this space that it's foreign to parents. And so they don't know what's going on. When I lament to my dad that a guy I like saved my snap and chat, he has no idea what that means. Parents don't know what that means, but every teen knows that means that he's expressing interest in me. And so it's just the language and the landscape has changed so much that parents now struggle to help their teens with dating.
I thought I knew all this, but clearly I don't. So that's really extraordinary. So your introduction to a potential date is through Snapchat, and the reason you would look at them is because they're a friend of a friend, or
yes.
Okay, a friend of a friend, and so you clearly have to know your friend pretty well, who is basically giving a reference for his friend, correct?
Not actually exactly. I think that wouldn't be the worst case scenario because I believe that accountability, friends setting each other up is actually a pretty productive way to date when you're an adult and when you're a teen because there's like that accountability of I can't just say whatever I want because there is that accountability of that mutual friend that we have that will be checking in with both of us. No, this is literally, it's a mutual friend of someone you could have met once, maybe not even know that well, maybe not even have met once, maybe you've texted with once. The way the Snapchat systems works is once you add them, that becomes like a friend in your ecosystem, and Snapchat thinks that that's a close friend of yours and will recommend mutual friends based on that. And so teenagers have about 1 to 200 people added on Snapchat, and I don't believe most teenagers have 1 to 200 close friends. And so those are the people, mutual friends that they're adding and starting conversations with, starting with W.Y.L.L.
Mm-hmm. And most people will send a photo, and they make no bones about it.
That was actually, well, that was one of my viral TikTok moments actually, because it's so widely relatable to girls, was a guy sending W.Y.L.L. and me responding with, hi to you too, where it's kind of become like a phenomenon where girls like understand that this is not the correct way to date. And I think that boys know that this is also not the right way to date, but nobody's telling them what they should be doing instead. Boys don't really have the social skills, but nobody's telling them. They're learning from TikTok, which is telling them to send W.Y.L.L. And so nobody's telling them, hey, you should actually express interest, become her friend first, build trust and an actual relationship that's built on what your relationship will be built on later in life, and that you should build habits, good dating habits. And nobody's telling them this. And I think that's what's really leading to this. Just, I'm just sending what I think I should be sending, but I don't think girls really think it's the right thing to do at all. But unfortunately right now, guys are sending it and girls are sending photos. And then that leads to, we wonder why girls have no self-esteem. Right. Imagine sending photos, that's your first pickup line, and he immediately rejects you without even trying to get to know you as a person. It's a very objectifying process. And it's not entirely on boys. It's not. It's girls need to give feedback. They need to be like, hey, this is not the right way to be handling this. Or someone needs to teach both sides for sure.
What percent of teens do you think start dating like this or date like this?
Teen dating as a whole is down. Teens are having less sex, they're drinking less, they're vaping less, whatever. But when teens are dating, this is pretty much the way that it goes. There's a lot of statistics around they meet in person first, but what parents don't understand is that means they saw each other in class first, from across distance, didn't speak, added each other on Snapchat, he texted W.Y.L.L. So it's a pretty common phenomenon. I don't know the exact percentage. It is widespread enough that every teen relates to it. And when I post the video, it gets millions of views from teen girls saying this is relatable.
Mm-hmm. What can we know that in dating? If you're going to sign up at a date site or on Instagram, probably not on a date site, but if you go on Instagram, there are a lot of people that can pose as another person. A woman can pose as a man. Can they do that when they're dating in this format?
Totally. I think I honestly don't even think that that's the biggest issue, even though predators preying on teenagers on Discord, on Snapchat is super common, especially when parents ban it. That's why it's a lot more complicated than just prohibiting social media, because when you prohibit it, I wasn't allowed on social media till I was 14. I was on it at 11. And that just creates another barrier of I can't talk to my parent about this. And so when something like that is happening, I'm talking to this guy, he says he's a teenager, but it's kind of weird. And you're not sure about it. You just kind of go along with it because you can't talk to your parents because you're not supposed to be on social media. And so there's a ton that just adds another barrier in talking to them about it. But yes, posing as different people is common, but I would say it is more common for the regular teenager. Their dating practices, the average teenager's dating practices are messed up. And it's not even those corner cases that are horrific to learn about the horror stories of Discord and Snapchat, but it's the everyday teenage experience that's also destructive right now.
Yeah. Before we went on the air, you were talking about boys feeling rejected and why
Mhm.
boys didn't want to date. And
Yes.
you said it's a big barrier for teens. So, how does the crush compatibility check that you have featured on your app help with that? And let's talk about boys and
Yeah.
their fear of rejection.
Yes. So what actually kickstarted my passion for all of this was when I learned the statistic that 45% of men ages 18 to 25 have never asked out a girl. That's 50%. That's
Mhm.
not this is a widespread problem. And when asked the number one reason, it was fear of rejection. They were scared. They didn't want to ask out a girl because they thought they were going to get rejected and they didn't know how to handle that. And so throughout my app, we have things like rejection training, learning how to deal with it, starting with small things and then building up to being able to ask out your crush. However, I also wanted them to practice other skills that you learn, social skills that you learn in dating before they master the rejection, because that's probably the hardest skill. And so I implemented the feature. It's called the crush feature,
Mhm.
where basically you can input your crush and their phone number, and it's basically a way to anonymously see if your crush likes you back, a rejection free way to ask out your crush, to just get teens in the door
Okay.
while they're still learning the how to deal with rejection and how to ask out their crush.
So, if the crush doesn't like you back,
Mhm.
isn't that a rejection?
Yes, but it's the reason that rejection has gone up is they don't know how to deal with it.
Got it.
That's one part of it, but a big part of it is with social media. Rejection is goes everywhere.
Hmm.
When somebody doesn't like you back, it's just Snapchat stories, Instagram stories, just everyone knows. It's not between you and that person like it used to be, where
Hmm.
oh, the person I don't like likes doesn't like me back. Like that sucks. Now it's like the person I like doesn't like me back, and everybody at the school knows. And so the way that I've featured the app, it would the crush wouldn't even know.
Okay.
So basically, you input who your crush is, and it sends the crush a text, and then the crush inputs their crush. If they match and they like each other, it'll tell both of them. But if the crush puts someone else, it'll never notify the crush that the person put them. And so it's basically a way to just at least get rid of that social aspect, to bring
Yeah.
the stakes down, where it's like, okay, let's just start with expressing your feelings to one person rather than the entire school having you having to worry about all of that.
Right. Because that's, yeah, then you've got rejection and humiliation. This is
Yes.
this is really pretty complicated. So,
Mm-hmm.
how do you, or how can you encourage teenagers to talk to one another and to see if they like one another face to
Mm-hmm.
face? Have you gotten any feedback from teenagers about that? Because clearly
Yes.
that's the best way to do it. But
Couldn't agree more.
yeah, yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think that social media has become such an integrated part of the dating experience, with 1 in 10 teens reporting that they think something is wrong in the relationship if they aren't communicating with their partner hourly. So, like,
Oh
that's just like
my, really?
a look into kind of how integrated it is. Literally every 60 minutes, there's communication online. So it is just very, very embedded into the teen dating experience. And what my app aims to do is to, you can't tell teens, don't go on social media, don't go online, if that just ends up with them doing it anyway behind your back. And so instead, I've gone online, I created an app, I'm where they are. However, it uses the online platform to teach them those in-person dating skills, because that's what's important. I couldn't agree more that being able to ask out someone in person, that is the key life skill that
Mhm,
teens are developing. And that's why 25-year-olds can't ask out their crush,
mhm.
45% of them. And so basically through the app, there's talking with the bot and practicing before you do it in person is probably like the biggest help for teens. That I've gotten feedback from teens who are like, I had a crush on this girl for a while, I was way too scared, and then I talked to a bot, she gave me confidence, and she let me practice first, and then I was able to go, and now we're dating for a couple months. Those testimonials are always my favorite. But yes, basically what the bot will do is it will guide you through. First, let's build up your confidence. You are awesome. Don't pretend to be someone else. Don't be one of the W.Y.L.L. It's what they're called, because you don't need to do that. You need to be yourself, and you have confidence in that. And then it builds on things like, okay, now that you have confidence, let's practice asking out your crush. And it has a few simulations that the team will go through. Okay, let's go through. If she rejects you, what are you going to say back to her in a way that's controlled, where you feel confident saying that? And then, because nobody's confident in anything if they haven't done it before. And so what I'm doing is I'm building confidence in teens' ability to ask out their crush in any way that it goes, any way that their crush responds. They are prepared with social skills. They have the conversation starters they need to crush that conversation, no matter which way it goes. And that's what I've seen is the best results with teens actually getting in person, even offline, because one of the main reasons teens like to make the first move online is that depending on what their crush says, they have time to think, go ask their friends, go look on TikTok, go look on WikiHow how to respond before. But in person, they respond. You got to be ready to go, and it's the social skill that should be being developed is the in-person interpersonal relationship skills. And so what I'm doing is I'm teaching them how to do it online. So I'm getting them, they have their toolbox of conversation starters, and then getting them to go do it in person practice, which is what's actually going to build up their maturity level and their ability to have social skills.
But the problem is you can teach them how to have these opening lines and have the conversation, but they may be having a conversation with someone who isn't who they think they are. So what do you do then? I mean, you know what I mean? I think you can tell them how to talk to somebody, but a girl who thinks she's talking to a 16-year-old may be talking to a 35-year-old guy.
No, for sure. I very much encourage people not online dating. That's okay. I think that any sort of
So you're talking about conversations only in person.
In person.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
And it sounds to me like the bot has replaced the parent, because this is a conversation I'd want to have with my kids, and typically parents would have with their kids before they go date. You know, say this or don't say that, or you might want to wear this, or you might want to, you know, I have conversations like that with a lot of my patients before they go off to college. So doesn't talking to a bot discourage them from talking to their parents?
That is the opposite of what I want to do, because what I believe that the parent-teen relationship and that dynamic, strengthening that, is the bot is a way to do that. And so what I think right now, when parents go to their teens, when teens go to their parents about dating issues, the parent doesn't really know what to say, because it's so different now that it's not as straightforward as, you know, there's social media, there's situationships, there's talking stages, and parents are like, what is going on? I don't know what to do with this. And what the bot always suggests is it basically reads, I have a panel of moms who vet everything the bot says. So the panel of moms and teen psychologists are basically feeding the bot what to say, and then all the bot does is kind of like transform it into Gen Z format.
Okay.
And so it knows what situationships are, but also all the psychology behind teen relationships. And so it can give advice that the mom would respect. However, so the bot gives great advice. However, it always encourages the parent-teen relationship. That's so crucial in the developmental period of a teen. Talking to your parent about dating. Right. Basically, if a parent wants to talk to the bot, they can get informed on how they can talk to their teen. But the bot pairs the teen, hey, you should go talk to your parents using these key phrases. And so it's giving advice in a way where if the parent can't give advice, the bot can kind of translate, but the bot is always encouraging the teens to talk to their parent.
So let's talk about parents. You know, we've scared the daylights out of a lot of parents with 15, 16, and even 14-year-olds out there. Tell us what parents need to know and what they can do to help their kids navigate this.
What I really think the key for parents helping their teens is learning about what's going on. I think that the problem is that when teens and parents are talking together, they're speaking different languages, where the parents are like, teen son, just go talk to her, go ask her out. And then the boy's like, okay, I'll go ask her out, W.Y.L.L. And that's like what it's translating as. However, so parents being educated on what's actually going on social media, what's going on in Snapchat and Discord specifically, what a situationship is, what a talking stage is. This is all going to be what's going to help that dynamic. Where when you go to, I actually, my dad is like notorious among my friends for being good at giving dating advice, because what I did was I sat and I was like, okay, this is what this is. This is what this is. This is what this is. What you think about dating probably is not applicable to what I'm going through right now. So let's change your perspective around all of this. And then, and then we can talk. And now he's very fluent in the Gen Z, what's going on. And he's super, super effective at helping me with dating. And so that's what I would suggest to parents is understanding that even though you have such deep expertise in dating and what you went through, you don't exactly have expertise in what your teen is going through. And so being able to kind of like hold both of those, where it's like, okay, I should go learn what these phrases mean. On my TikTok, I have a little playlist for parents to scroll through to kind of like get what's going on. And then going and talking to your teen, that will be a much more productive conversation than going into it and just assuming it's the same, because to teens, it could be more different.
Do teens listen to their parents when they talk to them about dating?
That's could also be a help of the bot, is giving that third party, advice where it feels very unbiased because it's AI and they don't have a stake in your life. Where teens will listen to their parents when they feel the advice is actually actionable and applicable to their situation. They won't listen to their parent when they say, oh, we hate your boyfriend, even though you're in love right now because your limbic system's a lot more developed than your prefrontal cortex. We hate him. The teen's not going to listen to that. However, if you approach it differently and the parent's like, hey, it seems you're in a situationship right now with a guy who has, anxious attachment style, which is very common among Gen Z because COVID caused X, Y, Z, that the teen is going to be a lot more receptive to that kind of feedback because it feels like the parent cares and isn't nagging them, or it doesn't feel aggressive. It feels like, hey, I've observed this from what I see with you and what I know about Gen Z dating, something to think about. And that's kind of what my bot does, is it never gives, this is what you should do. It's, when it comes to relationships like that, it's like, hey, this is something you should think about, because teens receive that a lot better.
Right. Can parents see what their kids are doing on the app? I mean, with Instagram, I know, that's good. So that parents can understand who their kids are talking to and what's going on, so they can.
Right now, what I'm in development of with the app is a parent portal where they'll be able to go in, and then the app will basically be like, hey, your teen is struggling with X, Y, Z. This is how you could support them. And that's going to, so that the parent can log onto the app. It's not going to disclose all the kids' information, that the kid still feels like there's some privacy, but the parent gets all the information so that they can go help the teen, because that's super important.
We know that when kids date during their teen years, usually they don't end up marrying that person, and it can scar them for later in life. We also know that there's a lot of downside to just social media in general, and that it's related to, increased social media use is clearly related to increased depression in kids. And, that's a real struggle for a lot of parents because they see this. So it's not just the dating, it's the social media in general. And I know that there are programs coming out on phones that will allow kids to sort of graduate into more social media platforms, and that can be helpful. Where do you see all of this going? I mean, with social media, because what I've experienced is there was sort of round one and everybody was hooked and they loved it and they loved it. Now there's sort of round two, where even a lot of teenagers are starting to go, wait a minute, this doesn't feel very good when I'm on this. Do you think that this app can help kids in a way move towards authentic relationships and away from social media in general? Or is
that was a huge focus of the app. I don't want this to be a social media app, because that's what's contributing to this problem. It's teens spending all their time scrolling TikTok. Actually, a huge problem that's pretty similar to social media is the average age a teen boys start dating is 13 or 14, but the average age they start watching porn is 11.
Right.
And so that's the first context they're viewing women in this sense. And so I couldn't agree more that there needs to be boundaries set with social media. You can't outright restrict it because teens will just find a way around that, but having a conversation with your teen that's like, hey, explaining why it's bad for you, explaining all these things in a sense where it doesn't feel like I'm trying to restrict you, and in a way where it's like, how can we get you on Instagram?
Well, and
we both feel comfortable.
And I've found, because I've had a lot of those conversations with teens and encourage parents to do the same thing. Teens get it. Yes. And they'll go, okay, you mean it can, takes me away from reading classic novels, which are really good for my brain. Oh, okay. So I just want to encourage all the parents out there that what you're saying is connect more with your kids and don't be afraid to talk to them and ask them questions. What do you get out of this? Why do you like it? Why do you not like it? Okay, so you're not going away anytime soon. What is next for Ask Elle? And how do you see it evolving to address more challenges in the relationships?
For me, what I see it evolving into is just really helping teens with this, building back up their social skills in a way where they feel supported, in a way where their parents feel that they understand what's going on, and just being able to build back social skills so that to curb that 45% of men not asking out girls by 18 to 25. That's where I really see this going. I'm a junior in high school, so I'm looking to go to college as well personally. And I hope to continue this project long into that.
Yeah. Well, you're awesome. I mean, I think this is fabulous. I think it's incredibly needed. And I'm grateful that you are the person developing an app like this. And it isn't somebody out there who's trying to encourage kids just to come on and learn bad things and date in, bad ways. So I think you're the perfect person. And I agree with everything you say. My experience with teen boys is breakups in general, in my experience, are harder for them than they are for girls because it is the rejection piece, but they also don't talk to anybody about a breakup or how they feel or, even if they've had sex with somebody and it wasn't that great for them, there's no way they're going to talk to anybody about it. So girls tend to recover a bit more quickly than I think boys are. So I think it's fascinating that understanding that how rejection of dating affected boys so much. So this is fabulous, Elle. My guest today on Parenting Great Kids has been Elle Lamont. She is a trailblazer, and you need to go to Ask Elle and check out her app. Elle, how can people find out about you and everything you're doing?
Everything I'm doing is documented under my Instagram and my TikTok, Elle.Christine. That's all on pretty much all social media platforms. And then Ask Elle in the App Store. You can download the app directly.
Ask Elle Christine with a K or a C?
With a K.
With a K. Ask Elle with a K. Oh, Elle, this has been so great. I really look forward to seeing what you're going to do. And promise me when you go to college, you don't stop this. No, you can stop. But the dating scene in college is a whole different world than it is for teenagers. And so maybe if you keep on doing that, I want to have you back on and you can teach us about how parents can help their kids through the college years and dating, because that's a different world.
The Stanford portal where Stanford students can access Ask Elle is going to be live in the next couple weeks. So that is when I'm in college, I'm looking to expand it to college students as well.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Wonderful. Every college should have this information. Elle, best of luck to you. I think you're fabulous. And I hope that everybody listening out there goes and checks out your app. Thank you.
Thank you.
Many professionals invest in an executive coach for personal development and a trainer for physical fitness. Now you can hire me, a best-selling author and expert coach, to help you raise great kids. I've over 35 years practicing pediatrics and an extensive experience decoding what your kids need and think about you. I've helped countless parents just like you. You can talk directly with me through private or group coaching. I'll listen and provide a customized plan to help you be the best dad you can be. Sign up now through the link in the episode notes. Your kids are counting on you. Let's make your family's future brighter together.